The Musk Project. From Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. This article is about the first large-scale attempt at transferring human consciousness into an automated android. For the cologne released by Dolce & Gabbana, see Project Musk. Background. In 2025, technological entrepreneur and tequila magnate Elon Musk created the Homonic Trust Fund. The fund's sole purpose was to provide backing for a future company called Homonic, whose goal would be to successfully transfer a human mind into a robot body. Musk, who frequently spoke about the dangers of artificial intelligence, felt the best way to ensure the continuation and domination of mankind was to infuse the soul and brain of a human into a machine unaffected by biological limitations or the environment. However, because the technology of the time was incapable of attempting such a feat, Musk decided that the Homonic Trust should sit and collect interest, and only be dispersed once significant breakthroughs in brain scanning and quantum computing had occurred. By letting other companies and individuals do the heavy lifting, Musk could come in later with a large sum of money and truly innovate. So, the initial investment of $2 billion in 2025 money, sat, and Musk focused on his other business ventures and podcast appearances. Musk changes the trust. By 2032, Musk was fighting multiple class action lawsuits, the most prominent being the one brought on by owners of Tesla cars. Dozens of studies spanning a decade had shown that Tesla owners were far more likely to develop cancer than the general population. The electromagnetic fields, or EMFs, generated by Tesla battery packs were thought to lead to cellular mutations in the brain, eyes, tongue, esophagus, lungs, breast, stomach, pancreas, bladder, ovaries, colon, bones, and skin. The hardest hit group was men over 25 who used Tesla's Insanity Mode, a feature to show off the car's extreme acceleration and embarrass its gas-powered counterparts. Their chances of developing testicular cancer, and thus requiring removal of the testicles, was nearly 90%. At the time, Musk was quoted as saying,
"People say you have cancer of fetus."
But Musk, who drove Teslas almost exclusively and used Insanity Mode every day when driving to his mailbox, began to report dizzy spells in June of 2032. Then in July, while arguing online with an ice climber attempting to save a group of Inuit children trapped under a glacier, Musk suddenly collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital where an MRI scan revealed he had stage 4 testicular cancer, which had metastasized in his bones. Doctors at the time gave Musk between 1 and 6 months to live. Faced with his impending death, Musk wasted no time consolidating his projects and preserving his legacy. And in an under-the-radar move, he changed the criteria of the Homonic Trust and Homonic Company. Instead of waiting to start the company until certain technological milestones were met, with no specifications on whose consciousness they would attempt to transfer into a robotic body, Musk changed the legal criteria to the effect that he must be the company's first successful consciousness transfer. Homonic could not commercialize its service or be listed on public stock exchanges until Musk's transfer had been completed. With the changes made, Musk had his brain meticulously scanned and his neurons mapped by the best technology of the time. He then retained a company called Nextome to preserve his brain upon his death, using a special cryogenic embalming that preserves the brain down to the nanometer level. When everything was in order, he died. Homonic starts up. In the 3 decades after Musk's death, tremendous developments occurred in the fields of whole brain emulation, or WBE, and quantum computing. Then, in the summer of 2059, the Eves Corporation successfully completed a WBE of an African gray parrot's consciousness into a specialized robot bird body. And 3 years later, the DuckDuckGo company released the most powerful quantum computer to date, the 1 megaqubit Daffy. These 2 events were enough to satisfy the requirements of the Homonic Trust Fund, and thus, in 2065, the entire fund was released to start up the Homonic Company. After 40 years of solid growth, the fund for the startup had ballooned to $400 billion in 2065 money. Overseeing the company would be the 25-year-old grandson of Elon Musk, $, trademark sign B52 Musk. He immediately began to recruit the world's best minds to work on Homonic in order to realize his grandfather's vision. The first Musk transfer. The Homonic Company made incredible progress in a very short period of time. Just over a year after the company's founding, engineers performed a whole brain emulation of a cockroach into a small quantum robot. 2 months later, they did the same with a mole rat. And 5 months after that, they repeated their success with a pig. Year 2, scientists felt the processes developed for the rat, roach, and pig had prepared them for their ultimate goal, a WBE of Elon Musk's consciousness in a quantum-powered android body. Engineers at Homonic partnered with Sinful Creations, a sex doll manufacturer based in West Hollywood, California, to create Elon Musk's body and face using their patented molding process. The standard servos, sensors, and skeletal hardware developed by Sinful would be used in the body, but instead of wiring it all to the standard sexbot computer, Homonic would connect everything to the Daffy quantum computer. Musk's consciousness would then be downloaded and emulated on the computer, and he would be able to have full use of his synthetic android body. With the body complete and the Daffy installed, transfer of Musk's consciousness was ready to begin. Homonic engineers queued up Musk's neuron map on their quantum transfer rig and connected the fiber optic transfer cables to Musk's new quantum brain. Before initiating the transfer, $, infinity symbol, trademark symbol, B52 gathered the entire company of engineers and laureates into the laboratory and gave a small speech. When my grandpa was asked why he took the incredible, innovative risks that he did, he used to say, I could either watch it happen or be a part of it. Well, today my grandpa is going to be a part of it. Again, his will be the first successful human consciousness transfer in mankind's history, and I can't think of a better, more deserving mind for this occasion. Thank you all for making this happen, and let's get this thing going. The transfer was initiated. Within 10 minutes, Musk's entire mapped brain was copied onto the computer and transferred into the consciousness emulator. For 2 minutes, Musk lay silent and motionless on the observation table. Engineers moved to do a systems check, thinking some of the brain data may not have been copied over. But before they could do that, Musk sat up and began looking around the room. Many in attendance jumped back, frightened, and there were reports that one assistant fainted. As Musk examined his surroundings and looked at his hands, his grandson approached him and read the following from a note card. Elon, I'm your grandson. $, infinity symbol, trademark symbol, B52. You're in the year 2067. We brought you back to life by emulating your consciousness in a computer. Your dream has become a reality, Grandpa. I love you. Elon Musk stared into the eyes of his grandson, saying nothing. Then after a moment of silence, he began screaming uncontrollably. Witnesses at the time described it as the sound an animal makes when being eaten alive. Musk then jumped up from the table, still shrieking, and sprinted toward a large window. He threw himself through the glass and tumbled 30 stories to the street below, disintegrating upon impact with the sidewalk. The second Musk transfer. In the month after Musk version 1.0 terminated itself by jumping out of a window, scientists and engineers at Homonic troubleshot the root causes of the hiccup. Broadly, they found that Musk should have been slowly introduced to new information so as to not overwhelm his fragile psyche. Additionally, the number of people in attendance likely induced a kind of panic attack, which caused a fight or flight response. Indeed, further research revealed that when Musk was alive, he had a fear of public speaking. Armed with this new information, engineers at Homonic repeated the experiment, this time in a windowless room with just Musk's grandson and a few others in attendance. After the consciousness transfer and WBE was complete, Musk version 1.1 sat in silence for a period of time. Then, he slowly rose and took in his surroundings. His grandson approached him carefully, reading from an edited note card. Elon, I'm your grandson. I love you. Musk reportedly stared into his grandson's eyes for nearly a minute before uttering his first word in over 30 years.
Cool.
Musk then asked where he was, and $, infinity symbol, trademark symbol, B52 told him it was Homonic, the company founded using his original vision. Curious, Musk asked to tour the company, and his grandson immediately obliged, assembling 2 security guards as a protective entourage for Musk so he would not be bombarded. As they toured the campus, Musk version 1.1 stared at the equipment in disbelief, asking many questions about their functions. Employees at the company watched in astonishment as Musk passed through the halls. In the middle of the tour, they ran into a scientist, Raymond Dale, who had been present during the first Musk transfer. Dale marveled at the new Musk a moment and said, "I can't believe we did it. Just keep him away from Windows, eh?" Musk asked his grandson what that meant, and $ infinity symbol trademark symbol B52 explained that they had actually already attempted a version of him the month prior, but that one had unfortunately terminated itself. Musk then said, "So I've already offed myself once?" His grandson and the engineers nodded, to which Musk replied, "Well, I guess it's lucky you can just make another one of me whenever you want." He burst out laughing, which reportedly caused everyone else to laugh as well. Soon, however, Musk's laugh turned into a familiar, blood-curdling scream. He lunged for a security guard and grabbed his gun, then placed it under his chin, emptied the entire clip into his head, and collapsed onto the floor. The 3rd through 23rd Musk transfers. 22 more Musks were attempted in the period between May 2067 and the spring of 2069, all of them resulting in violent suicide. After each Musk termination, scientists at Homonic would debrief, determine the causes of the failure, and then develop solutions they were certain would solve the problem. Then, when they'd create a new Elon Musk, it would inevitably expose some flaw in their plan and kill itself. Indeed, each new Musk seemed to adapt and get better at causing its own demise. The company desperately needed a win in order to survive, and soon they would get it. Breakthrough success, Homonic plans public offering. The tides changed with the creation of Elon Musk version 1.24. His personality was upbeat and human in a way that researchers had not previously seen. And upon learning the fate of his previous iterations, Musk actually worked closely with a team of Homonic scientists for months to determine the cause of the suicides. Observers at the time noted their excitement of this self-aware Musk, who was finally rational and stable. This version of Musk was the golden goose, and Homonic formally announced plans to take their product public and capitalize on their success. Spirits were high in the company, and Musk was the proverbial cheerleader for his workers, just as he had been decades before. After putting together the findings from their research and creating a 5-year plan for the release of their simulated consciousness product, Musk and the team were finally satisfied and ready to show the world. A jumbo jet was chartered to fly Musk, Homonic board members, researchers, and chief executives to the annual Scientific American Conference for an historic presentation. Mid-flight, everyone was in good spirits, excited to make history and reap the enormous profits from their vested stock options. And Musk, who had been an accomplished pilot when he was alive, marveled at the impressive aircraft. Finding his way to the cockpit, he spoke at length with the captain about the machine. He then remarked about the captain's height, saying he looked a little short to be flying airplanes. The captain laughed, standing up to show he was in fact 6 foot 1 inches tall. Musk grabbed him by the shoulders, threw him into the food galley, and locked himself in the cockpit. Analysis of the plane's black box recordings showed that the aircraft immediately went into a nosedive, taking only a minute and a half to plummet from 40,000 feet. The open cockpit mic picked up a variety of screams coming from company executives and scientists behind the locked cockpit door. Musk could be heard calmly whistling a song, later identified as "We Appreciate Power Until Impact." Homonic files for bankruptcy. With the deaths of most of the leadership, Homonic began bankruptcy proceedings with the state of California on February 7, 2070. Of the original $400 billion seed money, there was only $20 million left, with over $1 billion in liabilities. The company quickly laid off all 5,000 employees and shuttered its Los Angeles, New York, and London offices, selling all 3 properties. Its state-of-the-art computing equipment and IKEA furnishings were sold off as well. All that remained of the company to be sold was Elon Musk's consciousness. A Sotheby's auction was held in October of that year, with Musk's consciousness being one of the top featured items. A tracksuit owned by Oprah and the last McRib ever made were other top items. Bidding opened at an eye-popping $100 million, with an unlisted reserve price. However, buyers were reluctant to jump in at that sum, so the reserve was removed and the opening price lowered to $50 million, then to $10 million, then $1 million, until finally a start of $250,000 spurred interest. After a few back and forths, Musk's consciousness sold to a couple from Rising City, Nebraska for $285,000. When the ecstatic couple was asked what they planned to do with the consciousness of the famed entrepreneur, they said, "We think it will look great on our wet bar. It's such a conversation piece, isn't it?"
This entire story is fictional, and it comes from a book that we wrote. It's a funny book. Go buy the book. It's a funny book. If the stuff comes true, don't sue us.